No, so he said not if we're going to talk about the Kool-Aid man. No, no, absolutely not. And I said, we are talking about the Kool-Aid man. Yo, you can get the Steve Weiner from GetRubix.com. Last time I showed you the user experience for the peer-to-peer data migration between two PCs on the same network, happening automatically without the user doing anything at all. We're going to start the series now by, I'm going to show you step by step how to put those pieces together, the scripts, the Azure storage, and how to build that all. Wait, are you talking about Kool-Aid or High C? Okay, so back here at the lab, I have made a new folder called New Hardware Migration, and we're going to open this up. And we are going to make a new script. We're going to call this script device backup.ps1. Yes, okay. Now let's go ahead and open that with Visual Studio Code. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the first part because, well, let's say first and second part, because I think first part we'll breeze right through. You're going to be familiar with a lot of it, but then how are we going to check the network settings, the firewall stuff? So let's jump right into it. So as always, my preference, I like to do the error action. I like to do the error action as silently continue. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll set a local path in the device. And we can use the same thing we've been using. C program data. We can call it Intune migration. This might be better to call it data migration. Just something different. Okay. We check for the path. Obviously, if it's not there, we're going to build it. We do this all the time. Don't need to do that. Wow, I need more coffee. Okay, now we're going to set our detection flag for the Intune install, since this is coming from Intune. So the install flag will be the local path installed.txt, and we will go ahead and make the new item. Install flag, and let's set content path. Yep. Install flag, and the value will be package installed. Why mess with that, right? Okay, lastly, we're going to start logging. Okay, so we're going to start the transcript to local path, and we will call this our migration. Oh, we forgot quotes. Let's try that again. Local path. We're going to do migration backup .blog, and that'll be verbose, and we'll write host starting migration backup. All right, great. All right, so in this next part, there's a few things we want to check for in step 2. So in step 2, the first thing we want to do is we want to check the firewall settings. Check firewall ICMP settings. So easy way to do this. Let's do a little right host first. Right host. Let's say checking firewall rules. So we'll go through the logic, and then we can always clean up and do some host writing after. So the actual firewall rule that we're looking for, we're going to store in a variable, or rules, I should say. So we're going to use the get net firewall rule command, and we're going to filter where the object display name is equal to, we're going to say file and printer sharing echo request ICMP v4 in, because this is what's going to be required so that our new device can do an ad hoc share to this guy, right? So that's what we're looking for. Now we have to build some logic for if we find it. So if the firewall rules equals 0, meaning there's nothing there, we have to go ahead and build it. So we'll do a new net firewall rule. Okay, and this is a pretty standard command, so we got to give it a name. We'll call it allow ICMP. The direction is inbound. The protocol, not profile. The protocol is ICMP v4. The action is allow, and it will be enabled. Great. Else if, gotta spell that correctly if you want it to work. Now let's say it's not 0, right? And that rule is there. What we have to do now is, I think I need an else on the bottom actually. Otherwise the else if is gonna keep showing an error. No, doesn't wanna. Oh, I forgot the statement there. Duh. Okay. Else if the firewall rules has an action equals allow, meaning it's there, but it's not enabled. And firewall rules enabled is equal to false. So if it's there and it's just not enabled, we're just going to enable it. Set net firewall rule name firewall rules name, and we'll set the enabled to true. Perfect. And lastly, if it's there but the action isn't set to allow and it's not enabled, we'll do both right here. So we'll do set net firewall rule name firewall rules name action allow enabled true. And there we go. The next thing we're going to do from a network side is we have to check if WinRM is running. So check if WinRM is running and enable if not. Okay, so that's obviously the Windows remote management part. So real easy, we could do a variable for that, WinRM status. We'll get service. Name should just be WinRM. And we will say if the status is equal to null. By the way, PowerShell always yells at you if the null is on the right. They want you to say if null is equal to WinRM status. I just refuse to do it, and it hasn't stopped me yet. So if you have a problem for some reason, I need to do it, but I just think it looks stupid. So if that's the case, we're going to write host WinRM is not running. And then what we'll do is we'll say, oh, sorry, I meant is not installed, right? There's a chance the feature is just not on the machine. Installed, and we can write contact device admin. That shouldn't be the case, but yeah, I've seen it. And if you want to work in the automated installer, you can. It's just a little tricky. So that's that, right? That'll take care of the first condition. So if it's not installed, then forget it. If the status itself is, we can pull the status. If the status is equal to running, then we can say WinRM already running. And if it's there but not running, we're going to turn it on. Test. WinRM is not running. Starting WinRM. And that's pretty easy. That's just a start service. Name WinRM. Beautiful. All right, and that is the end of step 2. That got us through checking for our firewall stuff, fixing it if it's not right, checking WinRM, starting WinRM. Next time we're going to proceed with the script. We're going to start going through the disk, seeing what paths we're collecting for backup, and next step. 1, 2